Good evening, America. When I stood on this convention stage 4 years ago, no one fully understood the historic change that was about to take place.
When people talk about the Trump family, the spotlight almost always falls on Ivanka Trump, the polished, glamorous daughter who became her father's most trusted advisor, or on Donald Trump Jr., the outspoken eldest son who passionately defends his father's legacy on the public stage. Yet behind them stands another figure, quieter, less discussed, but far from insignificant, Eric Trump. Before we dive into this captivating story, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. That way you won't miss any of our exclusive stories about power, wealth, and the hidden truths behind the world's most talked about figures. Eric has often been cast in the background, overshadowed by the brilliance and controversy surrounding his siblings. He is not the one the cameras rush to capture at every event, nor the voice that dominates cable news headlines. But that very silence sparks a deeper curiosity. Is Eric Trump merely a shadow destined to walk behind his father and siblings? Or could he be the silent heir, the one who builds power quietly away from the noise, waiting for his moment to step forward? Today, Eric embodies multiple identities at once. He is a businessman serving as a key executive within the Trump organization, ensuring that the vast empire his father built continues to thrive. He is a philanthropist, having founded the Eric Trump Foundation, which once garnered attention for its charitable work in pediatric healthcare. He is a devoted family man, often seen cherishing life with his wife Lara and their children. And beyond all these roles, he is also a political strategist in the shadows, someone who may not crave the spotlight, but understands how to use influence effectively from behind the curtain. Eric Trump's story is not one of loud declarations or headline-grabbing drama. Instead, it is a narrative of subtle determination, quiet loyalty, and the careful balance between stepping into the arena and staying in the wings. His life raises a compelling question in a dynasty where visibility often equals power. Does Eric's understated presence make him weaker, or paradoxically, does it make him stronger? So who is Eric Trump really? A forgotten figure in the family dynasty, or the understated architect of its future? Eric Trump was born in 1984, the third child of Donald Trump, and Ivana Trump, arriving into a world already drenched in wealth, spectacle, and the larger-than-life aura of the Trump name. Unlike most children who enter life with innocence, untouched by public scrutiny, Eric's earliest memories were shaped by the towering presence of Trump Tower in New York City, a skyscraper that stood not only as his family's home, but as a gleaming symbol of his father's ambition and empire. To grow up inside those golden walls was to live at the intersection of privilege and pressure, where every hallway seemed to echo with both the promise of power and the weight of expectation. Family bonds were central to Eric's early years. Despite the complexities of growing up in a high-profile household, his relationship with Ivanka was particularly strong. The two were close in age and shared a companionship that softened the isolating effects of privilege. Ivanka's extroverted charm and Eric's more measured personality complemented one another, creating a sibling bond that would last well into adulthood. They navigated the glamorous but demanding world of their father together, Ivanka often stepping into the public eye, while Eric, with quiet loyalty, stood just a step behind, supportive yet distinct. The influence of Donald Trump loomed large over Eric's upbringing. From an early age, Eric absorbed his father's lessons about money, business, and the relentless pursuit of success. Donald was never shy about exposing his children to the mechanics of wealth and power deal-making at the dinner table. Conversations about real estate empires and the constant reminder that being a Trump meant not only privilege, but also responsibility. For Eric, these lessons imprinted deeply, shaping the way he would later approach both business and family. He learned that money was not just currency, but a tool of influence, that power was not something given, but something seized, and that loyalty to the Trump legacy was paramount. Yet beneath the glitter of chandeliers and the marble floors of Trump Tower, Eric also carried the quieter struggles of being the middle child in America's most scrutinized family. He was neither the heir apparent like Donald Jr., nor the glamorous favorite like Ivanka. Instead, he occupied the liminal space in between, often overlooked, yet slowly gathering his own sense of identity. In that silence, Eric developed resilience, the kind that does not need validation from the spotlight, but finds strength in perseverance. Growing up as a Trump was both a gift and a burden. The world saw only the privilege, the private schools, the luxury, the gilded lifestyle. But inside, Eric was navigating the unique challenge of defining himself in a family where every child's role seemed pre-scripted. His childhood was not just about wealth and wonder. It was about learning how to exist in the shadow of a father whose name carried global weight and alongside siblings whose shine could easily eclipse him. And yet those early years nestled within the towering walls of Trump Tower, guided by Ivana's protective warmth and Donald's unyielding drive, laid the foundation for the man Eric would become: quieter, steadier, but no less shaped by the currents of money power and the indelible bond of family. Eric Trump's educational journey began at Trinity School in New York, one of the oldest and most prestigious private schools in America. To many, this might seem like a natural step for the son of a billionaire, but for Eric, it was the first environment where discipline and focus truly shaped him. While many of his classmates were swept away by the privileges of youth, Eric chose a different path, measured, serious, and deeply aware that he had to prove his worth beyond the glitter of the Trump name. After Trinity, Eric moved on to the Hill School, a renowned boarding school with a reputation for molding future leaders, including some of America's most prominent businessmen and politicians. Away from the golden glow of Trump Tower, Eric faced a far more demanding environment: early mornings, built on strict routines challenging academics, and the constant presence of ambitious peers. It was here that he learned independence, adaptability, and the value of patience. In contrast to his older brother Donald Jr., who was remembered for his adventurous, outgoing spirit, Eric stood out in a quieter way, through observation, steady focus, and the cultivation of meaningful, lasting relationships. The next pivotal chapter of his education unfolded at Georgetown University, where he pursued finance and management. For many students, college was a time to explore freedom and enjoy the social scene. For Eric, it was about building a solid foundation for the future. In classrooms and late-night study halls, he was not simply Donald Trump's son, but a young man sharpening his mind and discipline. His peers often described him as thoughtful and reserved, someone who spoke less, but whose words carried weight when he chose to share them. At Georgetown, Eric absorbed more than just theories of finance and strategies of management. He learned how to understand people, a skill that would later define his approach to business and family life. Unlike the free-spirited, sometimes loud energy of Donald Jr., Eric carved a quieter but unmistakably purposeful path. He prioritized knowledge, discipline, and the power of genuine connection. His years of study did more than earn him a degree. They shaped an identity: Eric Trump, steady, pragmatic, and carefully prepared to step into the world of business with both humility and confidence. After graduating from college, Eric Trump's path seemed almost inevitable. He stepped into the vast world of the Trump Organization, the family empire that had carried his father's name through decades of fame, controversy, and towering ambition. Yet what set Eric apart was not the destination of his journey, but the way he chose to walk it. Unlike many heirs of powerful families, he didn't charge forward demanding the spotlight or forcing recognition. Instead, he moved quietly, deliberately, almost humbly, like a man who understood that true strength doesn't always need to be seen, only felt. Within the Trump siblings, Donald Jr., Ivanka, and Eric each carried a distinct role in the dynasty their father had built. Donald Jr. became the fiery voice, often taking to stages and television screens, championing the family's brand with charisma and aggression. Ivanka embodied elegance and ambition, reshaping the Trump image into one of modern sophistication, polished glamour, and lifestyle branding. But Eric, he was different. He was not the headline, not the soundbite. Instead, he was the quiet architect behind the scenes, the steady hand guiding billion-dollar properties, luxury hotels, and most importantly, the Trump golf courses that became a hallmark of the family's global presence. Eric's impact was perhaps most visible in a place that surprised many Virginia. They're nestled among rolling hills. He transformed an estate into Trump Winery, a project that was never just about wine. It became a symbol of Eric's philosophy to build something lasting, something that would outlive fleeting fame. The vineyard grew into one of the largest on America's East Coast, attracting wine lovers, travelers, and dreamers alike. Here, Eric showed his vision where business met art, where commerce met nature, and where luxury was tied not to the rush of the moment, but to endurance across time. And yet, while his siblings stood beneath blinding spotlights, Eric chose a quieter road. His presence was rarely demanded by cameras, yet behind closed doors, his hand touched projects worth billions. From glittering hotels in New York and Chicago to sprawling golf courses stretching across America and Scotland, Eric became the silent force balancing vision with execution. It was a contrast that defined him. While others played the role of voice and image, Eric became the rhythm, the heartbeat that kept the Trump organization alive and moving. If Donald Jr. was the voice and Ivanka the face, then Eric was the hand, the one that steadied the empire's pulse. His role might not dazzle with glamour or command with noise, but it carried weight, endurance, and trust. In the often chaotic world of the Trump dynasty, Eric Trump chose not the path of fire, but of stone, solid, patient, and unshakable. And that is why in the vast empire bearing his father's name, Eric remains one of its most irreplaceable pillars, a man whose power lies not in being seen, but in ensuring the empire never misses a beat. When Donald Trump stepped into the storm of American politics, the entire Trump family became part of the battlefield. Yet among them, Eric Trump held a position unlike his siblings. He was never the constant face of glossy magazines like Ivanka, nor the fiery, combative spokesman like Donald Jr. Instead, Eric found his role as a kind of silent warrior, appearing less frequently, but whenever he spoke, his words carried a raw sharpness that drew attention. In the 2016 presidential campaign, Eric was still relatively young in his early 30s, but already deeply loyal to his father's cause. He crisscrossed the country, attending rallies, speaking to smaller crowds, shaking hands with ordinary Americans who felt overlooked by Washington. Unlike Ivanka, who often spoke in a polished, carefully measured tone, appealing to moderates, Eric connected directly with the base farmers, factory workers, veterans, and middle-class families who believed Donald Trump was their champion. His message was not wrapped in corporate polish. It was direct, sometimes blunt, and it resonated with those who saw in him an authentic reflection of their frustrations and hopes. By 2020, Eric had grown into a more visible figure in the campaign. While Donald Jr. took the role of attack dog, relentlessly going after Democrats and the media, Eric carved out his own niche. He positioned himself as the defender of his father's vision and a voice of raw, unapologetic loyalty. His speeches often highlighted not just policy, but emotion. He spoke of the forgotten men and women of America, of families who felt their jobs shipped overseas, of communities ignored by elites. And every time he took the stage, his passion was palpable, even if his style was less rehearsed than his siblings. Eric also became known for his sharp words toward President Joe Biden and the mainstream media. He accused the press of treating his father unfairly, of twisting narratives, of ignoring the real concerns of Americans. In one interview, he once called the media a propaganda machine, earning both applause from loyal Trump supporters and criticism from opponents. On Biden, Eric did not hesitate to question his leadership and energy, often portraying him as weak and unfit compared to his father. Such bluntness, though controversial, cemented Eric's image as someone who did not filter his opinions, a trait that endeared him to Trump's staunchest supporters. Perhaps what defined Eric most during these campaigns was his bond with the grassroots. He was comfortable at rallies, often mingling with supporters long after the speeches ended, shaking hands, taking photos, listening to their stories. Many saw him not as a polished politician, but as one of us, a wealthy man, yes, but one who spoke plainly without the guarded polish of Washington insiders. For Trump's base, that authenticity was gold. Unlike many celebrity kids who treat sports as a casual hobby, Kai has embraced golf with relentless dedication. Her Instagram and TikTok aren't just highlight reels. They're a testament to hours of practice, driving drills, and tournament battles that showcase a work ethic rivaling some of the nation's best junior players. Her parents, especially Donald Trump Jr., have been vocal cheerleaders of her journey. In one heartfelt interview, Donald Jr. Kai's competitive record speaks louder than her last name. She has already claimed several junior titles, including prestigious AJGA events, where only the nation's best young golfers gather. But beyond the trophies, what sets her apart is her calm under pressure, an almost rare trait in the high-stakes world of golf. Still, the journey hasn't been easy. Carrying the Trump name means every swing, every scorecard, and every post online is magnified under relentless scrutiny. Early in her career, critics dismissed her as just another privileged kid playing under a different set of rules. Firmly in the trenches of political storms. But instead of retreating, Kai fought back with grit. After a rough finish at a regional tournament, she didn't hide. She filmed a raw, unfiltered video saying, "I'm out here working as hard as anyone. If you think things are handed to me, come watch me practice." That honesty struck a chord. The clip went viral, flipping the narrative. Fans, fellow golfers, and even skeptics began to see her for who she truly was. Not just a trump, but a fighter, a serious competitor with real talent. That moment became a turning point in her journey. The heir to skyscrapers and billion-dollar golf courses, but his children know him simply as Dad. Beyond the polished boardrooms of Manhattan, Eric's private life carries a very different flavor. He is a man who thrives in the great outdoors. Hunting trips, fishing adventures, long hikes, and horseback riding define his rhythm outside of business. In these moments, far from flashing cameras, political debates, and financial negotiations, Eric Trump reconnects with something raw, simple, and grounding. Unlike the dazzling glamour of New York's high society, his chosen lifestyle echoes a yearning for authenticity, for grit, for the kind of freedom that can only be found under open skies. It is this balance between the glitz of his public identity and the down-to-earth nature of his personal passions that makes Eric's life so fascinating. To the public, he may appear as a serious, calculated son of a powerful man. But to his wife, his children, and in the quiet of the wilderness, Eric Trump reveals the heart of a devoted husband, a loving father, and a man who, despite the weight of his last name, still seeks a life that feels deeply unapologetically his own. In 2007, long before the glare of political campaigns and the constant scrutiny of being the son of a U.S. President, Eric Trump made a decision that would shape his public image in a way few had expected. He founded the Eric Trump Foundation, an organization with one simple yet profound mission: to raise money for children battling cancer. For Eric, this was not about headlines or politics. It was about channeling his privilege and influence into something that could genuinely change lives. The foundation quickly became a beacon of hope for families caught in the unimaginable struggle of childhood illness. Its most significant beneficiary was the St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, a name that resonates around the world as a sanctuary for children fighting cancer and other life-threatening diseases. Through tireless fundraising events, golf tournaments, gala dinners, and charity auctions, the Eric Trump Foundation pledged and donated millions of dollars to St. Jude. These funds were directed toward advanced medical treatments, research facilities, and the everyday care that allows children to keep fighting and families to keep hoping. To parents watching their child undergo treatments, Eric's efforts were not about politics, but about survival and love. Yet, like many endeavors associated with the Trump family, the foundation did not escape controversy. Reports emerged suggesting that some of the foundation's funds were intertwined with the Trump organization, sparking criticism and accusations that philanthropy and business interests had blurred. Detractors questioned whether every dollar raised truly reached its intended cause, and headlines cast shadows over what had once been celebrated as a noble mission. For Eric, who had built the foundation with an earnest desire to give back, the scrutiny was not just public, it was personal. But beyond the controversies, the undeniable truth remains: the Eric Trump Foundation raised millions for children who needed it most. Regardless of political leanings or public debates, the tangible impact the hospital wings built, the treatments funded, the lives extended, cannot be erased. Parents who sat by hospital beds watching their children fight cancer will forever remember the relief and the light that came through Eric's foundation. In the end, the Eric Trump Foundation reflects the paradox of Eric Trump himself, a man both shaped and shadowed by his last name, yet striving to carve out a legacy of compassion amid the noise of wealth and politics. His contribution to charity stands as a reminder that even within families known for power and controversy, Moments of humanity and generosity can shine through, and sometimes those moments make all the difference. When people hear the name Trump, their minds often leap immediately to the world of skyscrapers, golden penthouses, and headline-making luxury. Yet within this powerful family, Eric Trump has carved out a life that, while no less privileged, carries its own unique character and quieter rhythm. His personal fortune is estimated in the hundreds of millions of dollars, an empire built from a mixture of family inheritance, business ventures, and his own initiatives. Unlike his sister Ivanka, whose polished image has been woven seamlessly into global fashion and politics, or Donald Jr., who often embraces the spotlight, Eric's wealth and lifestyle reveal a man who enjoys his privileges but does not always flaunt them. At the center of his assets stand sprawling estates, luxury villas, and golf courses, many tied to the Trump Organization's vast real estate empire. To Eric, golf is not just a family business, but almost a second home. The immaculately green fairways, the echo of a well-hit drive, and the prestige of maintaining world-class clubs reflect both his professional role and his personal pride. Alongside this, Eric's passion for wine translated into his ambitious venture, the Trump Winery in Virginia. It became one of the largest wineries on the East Coast, a testament to his ability to blend luxury with entrepreneurship and to transform leisure into legacy. But wealth is not only about business, it's also about the personal joys it affords. Eric's lifestyle is colored by his love for adventure and the outdoors. A keen hunter, he often finds solace in the quiet majesty of nature, whether in the fields of Scotland or on the plains of Africa, experiences that have brought him both joy and public scrutiny. Beyond hunting, he is a connoisseur of fine cars with a collection that reflects not only speed and power, but also refinement and taste. Travel, too, plays a central role in his life. With his wife Laura and their children, Eric has embraced family journeys that, while often luxurious, seem centered more on togetherness than public display. For him, the private moments, a sunset over a vineyard, a family walk on the grounds of a country estate, hold greater value than the glitter of flashing cameras. Compared to his siblings, Eric's way of living stands apart. Ivanka is often seen as the face of high society glamour, Tiffany as the youthful spirit of the family, and Donald Jr. as the outspoken political warrior. Eric, by contrast, has chosen a path of relative discretion. His fortune is immense, his lifestyle undeniably extravagant, yet his presence feels quieter, less polished for public consumption. Perhaps it is this contrast that defines him most clearly, a man born into the storm of privilege and politics, yet seeking in his own way to live a life anchored by family tradition and understated wealth. As the Trump family continues to leave an indelible mark on American politics, the question of Eric Trump's own political trajectory has begun to capture the imagination of observers and supporters alike. Unlike his sister Ivanka, who has balanced her business career with a highly visible political role, or his brother Donald Jr., who often dominates headlines with outspoken commentary, Eric has largely maintained a quieter public presence. Yet behind that calm exterior lies a man with both the experience and the networks that could make him a formidable figure in the Republican Party. Eric's personal life is intertwined with politics in ways that extend beyond his own ambitions. His wife, Laura Trump, has emerged as a rising force within the party, particularly in North Carolina, where she has demonstrated leadership charisma and an ability to mobilize grassroots support. Through her work, the couple has effectively built a political partnership that mirrors in some ways the dynamic of Donald and Melania Trump, a balance of visibility, strategy, and influence. The notion of Eric stepping more directly into politics, either alongside Laura or independently, has been a topic of speculation for years. Could the Trumps once again introduce a power couple to the American political stage, one whose combined strengths command both attention and respect? Looking toward the future, Eric's potential role could take many forms. He could pursue elective office, perhaps in Congress, the Senate, or even as a candidate for higher national office in 2028 or beyond. Alternatively, he might operate as a strategic influencer behind the scenes, leveraging his extensive business network, his reputation for organizational acumen, and his credibility within the party base. In any scenario, Eric possesses the qualities that are often essential for political leadership: loyalty, discipline, and a deep understanding of the machinery that drives campaigns and policies alike. Beyond strategy and ambition, What makes the prospect of Eric's political involvement intriguing is the authenticity he brings. Unlike politicians who carefully curate every word for media optics, Eric has shown throughout his life that he speaks directly with sincerity and conviction. That blend of discretion and forthrightness could make him a unique candidate in an era where voters crave authenticity as much as competence. Ultimately, the question remains open. Will Eric Trump step into the political spotlight as a leader in his own right, or will he continue to be the steady hand behind the family's influence? Whatever path he chooses, the combination of his experience, family legacy, and partnership with Laura positions them as a duo to watch, one that could redefine the future of Republican politics and perhaps once again shape the course of American history. The seeds are planted, the networks are ready, and the nation watches with anticipation. Is Eric Trump the next political force the country has yet to fully understand? Eric Trump may not be the name that often headlines tabloids or dominates the spotlight, but within the sprawling high-stakes world of the Trump family, he has quietly emerged as one of its most steadfast pillars. While Ivanka dazzles with her public persona and Donald Jr. commands attention with his fiery presence, Eric's influence is less flashy, yet no less vital. Behind the scenes, he has managed billions in real estate, nurtured a world-class winery, and helped guide the family's business empire with a steady hand, proving that leadership does not always need to scream for recognition. Beyond business, Eric's dedication to philanthropy through the Eric Trump Foundation reflects a compassionate side often overshadowed by headlines. His work has provided tangible hope to families battling childhood cancer, showing that quiet persistence can create profound impact. These endeavors, combined with his role as a devoted husband and father, paint the picture of a man whose legacy is built not only on wealth or fame, but on tangible contributions to people's lives. Looking ahead, the question lingers, will Eric Trump continue to serve as the silent guardian of the Trump empire? Or will he step further into public life, potentially embracing a political future alongside his wife, Lara? Could he transform from the understated heir into a leader of a new generation, shaping the next chapter of the Trump family story? The possibilities remain open and the intrigue is undeniable. Eric Trump embodies a paradox, quiet yet influential, private yet powerful, and it is precisely this duality that makes his journey so compelling. As we watch, one question remains for all of us to ponder. Is Eric Trump simply the silent heir, or is he preparing to write an entirely new chapter for the Trump dynasty? His story is still unfolding, and the world can only wait with anticipation. Thank you for following the journey exploring the life and career of Eric Trump, the often overlooked son who quietly stands as a steadfast pillar of the Trump family. If you found this video interesting and want to discover more little-known stories from powerful families, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss our latest videos. Leave a comment to let us know what you think. Do you see Eric Trump as the silent heir or as the one who will write a new chapter for the Trump dynasty? We can't wait to read your thoughts and discuss them with you. Thank you and see you in the next videos.